Right, good as I'm going to get. Don't know how good this signals or not. I find it mightn't be best up here, but we'll give it a go. Milwaukee grinder. I'll get on there, see what the crack is. This is actually an American model. There'll be all the extra warning labels. What is she? 2680. So somebody's over in the States, brought a few tools back. Not much point because you don't get warranty on them over here. And on their brushed grinders, Milwaukee or otherwise, you really want the warranty. Those brushed grinders don't last too long. This camera stand isn't as good as my other ones, so it's hard to actually use. It's very much in my way. Last one's a T10 normally. And a security. Seen a bit of work now. It's not good from the start. You can see the damage already. So that motor's not good. Feels still strong enough. That motor looks fairly black. Windings don't look the best. Obviously the bearings totally failed. You can see by the inner race has gone blue from heat. So that steel's actually blued. Not good. And the brush holder melted up here. Because that bearings failed, it's taken out the housing. So I don't know if that one's going to be worth it or not. It's not done an awful lot of work. Good old Milwaukee quality. Just a wee basic PCB board inside of it. Nothing to it at all. Doesn't have to be much because quite honestly, these motors burn out before that goes. So that's the problem. Same as normal, should have be Milwaukee bearing fitted. That's gone bad, overheated, melted the housing. Armatures then started rubbing off the field down here. It's actually broke the field too. Look. That field's actually broken off too. So it's jammed up. Been rubbing constantly off the rotor. That's overheated then. Cooked the windings, high resistance, then blew the segments. So that's gone, housing's gone. In other words, the whole thing's gone. Forget about that one. It's going to be too expensive. See what this one's like. yard's bust, but I don't think that's the problem. It's fairly fresh, this one. Cheers, Gary. Hey. Yeah, it's not hard to get good at it. You just have to do enough machines. Bit of patience, bit of experience, anybody can do it. Screws missing here as well. That's not going to help. That thing's done nothing. Maybe this is a case of it was repaired before, because it looks like a fresh body, but there's no sticker on it. So that body, I would say, has been changed. I have no idea how so many people fall for Milwaukee stuff. I can understand it in the States. In the States you're getting a 5-year warranty, and basically all their tools are covered under that warranty. No questions asked. So if something fails, they just replace it. They don't repair. So I can understand the States why they buy them. Plus they're a bit cheaper. But here, in Europe, Ireland, the UK, no, can't understand it at all. The quality's not there, the reliability's not there. Longevity is definitely not there. They're just overpriced Chinese crap. Yeah, something's sticking in here. There we go. This one doesn't look too bad. Stator's alright. The rotor's fine. Bearing maybe starting to go a wee bit bad. Aye, maybe the soundry of the problem. There's rust and water damage on this. You see how Milwaukee dropped their quality over time. It was the older grinder brushed version. Big spring in the back of there to keep that battery retainer up tight. All their newer tools now, the fuel lines, don't have that spring. Same battery retainer, same battery system, same base on all of them, but they've taken that spring out. They don't plan on these lasting very long. They don't actually want them to last very long. They want these battery terminals to burn out. You can actually see how much them batteries actually contact the whole receiver or the battery retainer. Only them 2 spots, and they very quickly burn through. This one I'm not sure about. I'll have to look back and see why this one was sent on. Stick it back together again so we can give it another test later. It's definitely alright. I have had before where people have sent these brush grinders on for repair thinking there's something wrong with them because they've gone out and bought a new brushless grinder and they're comparing the two. They're thinking the old brush grinder is going to be as powerful as a brushless one, and then they start believing that the old tool has something wrong with it because it's down in power, and in fact it's just a brushless motor. There you have a big power difference. Brushless ones have way more power. Just leave that together as well because I don't want to come back to it and have pieces lost. At least when you leave it screwed together, everything's together. If it's a case of this as it being an intermittent fault, sometimes it's running, sometimes it's not type job, more than likely that's either going to be the switch or the controller back here. Not as much the switch, they're quite reliable. The controller sometimes can give trouble. So if it's a case of that, I'll take the parts out of the scrap machine and stick it on here. Well, that's working fine to me. Now for the awkward one. These I don't like as much, because the main reason we get them on. Just give that the camera a knock. Working. They also sent out a battery, maybe that's the problem. Yeah. So that's a common one for Milwaukee. Two-part problem. That battery's actually broken too. Smashed down there. See if we've got another casing for that maybe. So the battery's loose. And as you can see, the contacts on it. Crack that open actually and have a wee look. The actual spring contacts aren't that great either. They've slackened off and become loose. I couldn't do this battery hasn't done much use in it because that is caked. Screws are full of grit. That must be pre-2010. Yeah. Got one there. She's broken. I'll switch on another light here. Yeah, it's better. you get your 5 contacts on your battery. These are wee spring spades, spring closed. That one there is one of those burnt off, and the one underneath doesn't look that great either. So they become loose, slacken off, and start losing contact. On top of that, your battery terminal on your machines start to wear out as well. So you can see all the grit that gets into this. All that starts getting done, and your battery starts rattling around. All that grit just eats away the plastic. So it all eats away up on here. Battery becomes loose. Batteries wear, bodies wear. And because she's rattling, these contacts start rattling too. And they get eaten away. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. See wee steps on the actual battery contacts. That's where they've actually been ate away. That's for battery's been losing contact and arcing across and actually eating away. It's got electric discharge machining basically on the tool. So them contacts are gone. That's razor sharp. There's nothing left. And you can't replace this. That's the problem. Good old Milwaukee again. This battery retainer has a wee controller built into it. Then it's also part of the wiring loom, part of the switch, and the stator as well, and the control board on the back of the stator. All that is one piece. Most other brands have these battery retainers separate, so when they burn out or damage like this, you can just replace them. Not Milwaukee. They've known about this problem a long time, never changed it, never done anything about it. In fact, they've actually made it worse. Any protection they had in the body, any dampers, metal sleeves for helping the plastic not wear away. That spring I was saying earlier, that's all been taken out now, all gone. So normally you get them now, this battery retainer already sitting loose, not tight at all. So what do I do with this one? There's not much I can do. Advice here to give is to just tell them to buy new batteries. Because the tool itself is working fine. The problem is the battery itself. It's just one running like on this battery. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It locks up too. Right, that's gone, or that's all I can do with that. This one, there's not really much I can do with that either. See it on the top plate, see if it tightens it up at all. Scrap battery here. And there's no point in swapping terminals over either, because generally when you get a scrap battery it's because this PCB board on top is gone. You can actually see this one hasn't done as much work. It has the exact same problem. It's actually burnt through them contacts there as well. You can see how much wear they go through. The thickness of the metal there, that's where the current is coming through. So this is your live and that's your neutral. This is taking the brunt of the amps. You can see how they just wear away, burn away to nothing. You see how thin that one is compared to there. So that's where you get that starting and stopping crap. Bad design, or more designed to fail. More problems. There we go. Don't know if this will help or not, but we'll see. No good. There's not much point in me packing out that battery. It's not going to do anything. Not even going to unscrew that top cover. Leave it on there. That is a shame. It's not often you get them actually running that long. But then this is the older model. That's the original brushless Milwaukee half-inch nut gun. All the ones after then, what I call the Bluetooth and the fuel line. Well, not the fuel, but all the generations after that had the replaceable, removable back cover. You took out 4 screws here and you can pull out the whole rotor. Them ones where this thing started going downhill really. These ones here weren't too bad, as you can see. That's lasted for a duration of its life. That's done its work. Like, burnt through the contacts fair enough, but she just definitely has done her work. That was a good enough tool. The newer ones now, Jesus, they're just terrible. Like, anything after 2019, 2020, they've just dropped the shite. So they have. Getting them on, even just boys have bought them. They're just over a year old and haven't really used them. Sitting in the shed or the garage. They go to use them a couple of months later. No battery in them. The controller's dead. Totally dead. Nothing you can do. Motor needed. Price of the machine. I don't know. I'm getting to the stage now we're going to be refusing to take them in for repair. Now, there's only other one thing I can do in that. Is to pack out the body. It's not necessarily definitely going to work, but it may work. It may work enough. It helps tighten the battery up anyway. So we'll get that is where your battery actually is held on by these 2 plastic wedges. So as you can see, they wear away and the housing wears away. Now, you can't do anything with these. They're not too badly worn anyway. You can see a fresh one is nice and square. These ones have become a wee bit rounded or a wee bit of an angle on them. Same as on the housing. You can see it's actually putted on there. So what you can do is get a soldering iron or something hot. Get another Milwaukee machine or a piece of this type of plastic and melt the plastic onto this housing. And then once you've melted it on and it's all set and hard, back with a file and square it off again, nice and flat. Or until the battery is sitting snug. Used to have to do it for the old Bosch 36 volts as well. Did the same kind of problem. You would just get away with a wee bit of quick steel. Because there's no area to go onto here. Quick steel doesn't work on these Milwaukees. You have to use plastic. And a plastic welder's not much good either because there's not much room to get on here. So I'm going to try that. See if it does anything at all. I need a bit of plastic. Plastic's all the same, just a different colour. I'm going to go with a wee bit of DeWalt yellow, mix it up a wee bit, Don't think Milwaukee like this colour on it, but sure. What can you do? This is actually a pyrography pen, but it was used for a wee bit of everything. Doesn't do any more pyrography anyway. You can hear the actual glass in this melting. This is glass reinforced, or glass impregnated plastic, just to help give it extra rigidity. All power tools have used glass reinforced plastic now, at least all the good ones. That's a wee bit better. Get a wee bit more. Even make it a wee bit bigger than you need to. But you can file it down then after. You can get it good and tight. Better go too much than too little. But just make sure you get it well melted onto it. Riveting viewing. Is DeWalt better than Milwaukee at the minute? Definitely. The two of them have very good platforms, 18 volt like, and the two of them are the same kind of tools. And the two of them are more mechanic sort of orientated. DeWalt's getting more so into Milwaukee very much so. I always recommended Milwaukee for mechanics. They are better power, but they just don't last. DeWalt's coming up there now. Even the new nut guns rivaling the Milwaukee one. Longevity of a DeWalt outlasts the Milwaukee all the time. SDS, they're all like the carpentry stuff, construction tools. Milwaukee's, they're just not lasting. Getting complaints every day about them. DeWalt, they're still not the best. They still have a very good platform though. Most of their tools are very good. They outlast Milwaukee easily, and the ones that do fail generally can be repaired. Like, they're not such a bad fail that you can have to dump them all the time. Most of the Milwaukee fails, they're just, as the controller, nothing you can do, throw them out. That's the way they are. So we'll definitely recommend the with the Milwaukee. Depending on how well the tools worked. It would depend how much the tools work and how long they last. But I find the Milwaukees don't last at all and don't do much work. I find the DeWalts just seem to be able to get on with the work and do a wee bit better. What do we recommend? Over Milwaukee. Plenty over Milwaukee. DeWalt for a start. Depends what sort of stuff you're going for. Mechanic sort of stuff, like I say, generally would recommend Milwaukee because as bad a quality as they may be, they are designed all around power. So they're more powerful for taking off wheel nuts, working on cars. Like when you need the power, they're there. So if you're a mechanic, you don't really care if it's going to last you a year or two or not. You're going to need the power. Outside of that, be going for the DeWalt stuff. I myself like the Makita stuff. Far better quality, far better last. For most of their tools, not any brand, no brand has got all good tools like. But Makita I find to be one of the top ones. Outside of that then, if you like steel sort of work, Matabo, definitely. Generally carpentry sort of stuff then, Hikoki, nail guns, routers, cordless drills, drivers. Nothing wrong with them. Just depends on what you're going for. Same thing. It's a wee bit tighter, but nowhere near enough. Really, you'd want to be changing them there. But, like I say, there's not much point when they're all the same. Can't buy them on their own. You might be able to get them online. Some are knockoff ones. That would be an option. But I don't have that option. Liking the Hikoki stuff myself, Jeff. I got the wee impactor. Done a test and a wee review on that. Brilliant stuff. Quality of that there thing's nothing wrong with it at all. And the triple hammer, I thought it was a wee bit of a gimmick, to be honest. But after I'd done a review on it, I was thinking about it. Brilliant actual idea. Because impactors for screws, it's not like a nut gun. You're not relying on torque. These don't drive screws with torque. They're actually driving screws with just the impact. Torque means nothing. So the more slaps you get out of this, the faster it's going to drive a screw. Just turns out that triple hammer makes a big difference. Just testing it myself then up with Donegal Shepherd Huts. Definitely does the job. It won't go into maintenance mode. What model have you got? I think there's some that are different. The American ones, you have an extra, there's a button missing. You have to pull up the tab to get into maintenance mode. I think ours, there's wee buttons there. Mac tools, I don't really hear much about Mac tools anymore. Used to hear about them all the time years ago. I wouldn't hear as much now. Get that cooled down. Right, I think that's as much as I can do this evening. One can't be failed, one I can't see a fault with, and one has a battery problem. Tool itself's fine, battery not so much. Now the other thing you could do with that is put on a wee piece of tin. The actual batteries are made up, wee strips for holding the battery cells together for joining them. Wee tin nickel strips. Get some of that and actually break it apart and fold it over like a wee wedge. You can actually solder that onto the contact pins, but you can do that for yourself. It's grand. Doing it for a customer is not such a great idea. That'll work, no doubt about it. If I put two onto that live and neutral, this thing will run no problem. Definitely will run no problem without stopping. Problem is, because these wear out and they can stretch, you're wedging these open too much. When when you do that. So fair enough, if you've got an old battery like this here, your set you're using is old, it's grand. But if they go and replace these with new batteries then, and start using the new batteries, and the tool you modified with these big massive pins, you're going to stretch out the new battery. So it's a wee bit risky doing it for customers. For yourself, definitely, you can do it. Literally, it's just a wee wedge, fold it over, drop it over the top, drop a solder on top of it. It does work. But like I say, I don't really like doing it. It's not going to work for that one anyway because that pin is broke. So if that gets any wider, it's just going to bend it the wrong way now. So that won't work for this one. So the nut gun works. It'll work for a bit longer if they get new batteries. And the grinder seems to be working fine. So look at that now, look. The new battery. That's nice and tight. No playing that at all. So that's the gun improved, but they need new batteries. That's my own battery. I missed a few messages there. Undersole Rand, generally you're onto a more specialist tool anyway. Undersole Rand shouldn't really give bother. Some people don't really like them as much. Some fellas are saying they're not as powerful. I think as powerful, if not more, for most applications. Some people are saying there's not as much. You're probably using adapters or something like that there. Undersole Rand, no, they're worth the money, generally I find. Especially the air guns. We still have the air guns at work, like. Top of the range, you're not really going to get much better. It just blinks when you put it on. I can't remember now the maintenance mode. Jeez, if it's not going up the maintenance mode, you just want to get the button properly so you can actually get the piston fully out. Your controller is probably gone, or there's going to be a fault with your motor. With maintenance mode's not actually doing very much. It's just ticking off where the motor resets the pin to. Because whenever the high Koki guns or the Metabo HPT, when you fire the gun and it shoots the nail, the pin goes out, but then automatically the motor drives it back again. So it's always sitting ready to shoot. Maintenance mode just ticks off the safety for it to stop at the very back where it's ready to shoot. So whenever you plunge it down and pull the trigger, then it lets it run that wee tiny bit. It just gets it to actually fully let go of the pin and let it shoot and not drive it back again. So if maintenance mode is just blinking, not getting on, I would imagine there's a problem with the controller. The controller's not actually starting the motor to let the actual pin get shot. So probably has gone into maintenance mode, but the maintenance mode is not letting it run the actual brushless motor itself. So say you could have a controller fault there or a motor fault. But is it when it's blinking the one orange button, is that not in maintenance mode then? You actually have to plunge it and pull the trigger to get it to fire then. Whenever you plunge it, you're supposed to do it at least 3 times after you get it onto maintenance mode. Because what you're doing is you're just getting, it engages the motor just a little bit to turn the actual drive gear at the top that's holding the pin back. So 1 or 2 turns generally gets it to release, 3 times maybe. So what it's actually, when you plunge it, it literally just starts the motor for a split second and stops. Plunge it again, does the exact same thing. It's only just turning the motor a wee tiny bit. So generally when it's in maintenance mode, I can't remember if it's a blinking light or a steady light, but it should really be in maintenance mode. And that's another good point, hey. Check repair, check out for repair says. Check, make sure the pin's not already out. I've actually never had not too many repairs with the Hitachi or the Metabo HPT guns yet. The worst ones I had was actually a broken pan. One of the teeth on the pan wore out, and one of the pans that helped drive the pan back again had wore away. And that was just from, what was it, 3 or 4 years of use. That's probably the most expensive repair I've done on them. Probably the biggest repair. There's not many of them coming for repair, to be quite honest. Possibly, maybe. If somebody's had it open before, they could have nipped something. Anyway, I don't think I have much more to look at here tonight. Never been looked at already. This is just the last few. Quick wee juke yet. Last wee one before I sign off. Just right. Cheap and cheerful. A Draper Storm Force. How they come up with these names, I don't know. Not a good start. Corrosion. There's cheap old cells. Yeah. Some of them cells have leaked. Corrosion on the board too. Probably dead. $13.5. $17.8 nearly at the cells, so the cells are probably alright. 3.5, 3.5, yep, 3.5, 3.5. So the cells are actually okay, even though there's damage up here. They're not great, but they are alright. That would charge the cells, but the board's only putting out 13.4. So the actual PCB board has crapped out. I'd imagine from that water damage she's got hot, shorted, got warm, and she's trapped the wee thermistor inside. So that's probably changed resistance now, and this knows it. So the resistance is changing the power coming out through the board. So it's now too low. In other words, she is no good. There's not many actual repairs tonight, lads. It's not a good lathe. So what can you do? That's a funny one. I've got the PCB on first. It's an awkward way to do it. Anyway, she's not fixed. Let's back the front. Even that way. You always have to put them back together because they're still batteries at the end of the day. There's still cells that could be shorted out if somebody just goes and throws them on the wrong place. Took that apart and threw it in the wrong thing. A bunch of metal parts or something. Them cells will just short out. Quickly start a wee fire. Yeah, damn it. Sometimes I hit batteries. Now I'm getting lazy, doing it half-assed. It's taking longer than it needs to. Yeah, cheers repairs. Sadly, there always is plenty of unrepaired ones. Not everything can be repaired, sadly. Right lads, I think I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. Hit like and follow if you like the channel. If you haven't already. Plenty more to come later. I'll see if I can get more lives done later on, further on down the line. Just nothing coming out at the minute. I don't really have the time for them. Just had a few wee bits to do this evening, so I thought I'd do one. Because it's been a while since that was on. But hopefully later there'll be more. Hope you enjoyed it, lads. I'll chat to you later. Keep an eye on the channel. There'll be more stuff coming up later. Night all.